5 days after Israel's assault on Iran, the conflict is escalating. And I think it's becoming clearer and clearer that one of the primary goals of this campaign is to lead to regime change within Iran. And I think that Israeli officials are also becoming more and more open about that as one of their primary goals. Just yesterday, Netanyahu made a statement. He talked directly to the Iranian people, said that Israel is not their enemy, and urged them to rid themselves of the, quote, evil and repressive Iranian regime. He argued that Israeli strikes are paving the way for them to rise up against the Iranian regime. Today, on Haaretz's flagship podcast in Hebrew, they interviewed Dr. Tamar Elam Gindin, supposedly an expert on Iranian affairs. She's a research fellow in Haifa University's Center for Iran and Persian Gulf Studies. And I think she represents Israeli attitudes about Iran. Number one, she said that the Iranian people is overwhelmingly and completely against the repressive Iranian regime. And number two, that they are thankful for Israel attacking and hope that Israel expands its strikes. And I thought that for an expert on Iran to be making such a statement was quite shocking, because surely she's aware of the, I want to say indiscriminate, but if not indiscriminate, at the very least, completely careless way in which Israel has been targeting densely populated Iranian urban centers. She surely is aware of the already hundreds of civilian casualties that were the result of Israel's attacks. And so for an expert to make the case that Iranians are cheering on Israel as it drops these bombs was really sort of dumbfounding, if that's the right word. I have a direct quote here from her, which I translated, so take it with a pinch of salt. She says, "One good thing I can say about Netanyahu, he is one of the few leaders in the world that distinguishes between the Iranian people and the Islamic Republic. Iranians love him, they adore him. They love what he says, and they love that he kills everyone that they hate. You know, the entire Middle East celebrated after Nasrallah's assassination, not only in Iran. And after every assassination, you see these videos of Iranians saying, 'Bibi, I love you, I'm your slave. Please assassinate the supreme leader.'" So again, I mean, you hear such statements from Israeli media figures and Israeli mainstream outlets, but for a supposed expert on Iran to be making such a claim, I thought was really incredible. And it made me want to dig into, what do the Iranian opposition figures think about Israel's attack? And I was especially wondering about people who were involved in the most recent wave of contention within Iran, the Women, Life and Freedom protests in 2022, 2023, I believe. What do they think? And luckily, just today, a couple of articles came out interviewing activists who were involved in these protests. So I wanted to sort of highlight a couple of quotes. So this article by Arash Azizi makes the case that makes the commonsensical case that even people who are staunchly opposed to the Iranian regime are also deeply opposed to Israel's strikes on Iran. So he says the activists he spoke with were hard pressed to support Israeli attacks that have already killed almost 200 civilians. So a couple of quotes I wanted to highlight. "I oppose the Islamic Republic and Khamenei with all my being," a 24-year-old activist said. "I took part in many demonstrations during the Women, Life and Freedom movement, but now I can't even think about the regime or overthrowing it. I'm scared, I'm worried. I fear for the life of myself and everyone around me." Another activist says, "I can't think about activism under the sound of drones and missiles, can I? She asked him rhetorically. I don't support the targeting of civilians anywhere, whether in Iran or in Israel. Another one said, I am one of many young Iranians who want change, but this war is not helping us. It is destroying us. It is silencing the very people it claims to save. And it goes on and on. There's more quotes here. Another article that came out today was in the New Arab, and it reaches similar conclusions. It highlights that there are leading opposition figures in the Iranian diaspora. For example, the son of the former Shah, Reza Pahlavi, who has expressed support for Israel's strikes. He has sort of been lauded by Israel and Western figures as the leader of the Iranian opposition. But these sort of high-profile figures are kind of disconnected from the grassroots opposition within Iran, the people who led the Women, Life and Freedom movement. And again, in this article, they interview these people and other older activists who've been involved in anti-regime activism for decades within and outside of Iran. And it reaches the same conclusion. Again, the commonsensical conclusion. I'm truly surprised that Netanyahu, Trump, or Reza Pahlavi expect people like me to support Israel and stand up against the regime under these circumstances. An emeritus professor who's been repeatedly taken to court and sentenced to prison for criticizing the government said. But how can I join the enemy in this situation? And yeah, I just wanted to share my thoughts and to share these quotes from activists on the ground in Iran, especially today when we know that the sort of more conservative neocon wing of the Trump cabinet appears to be winning and appears to be pushing him further and further into direct U.S. involvement in this war. It's not going to lead to positive regime change. It's not going to lead to not likely to lead to a democratic transition within Iran. It's almost as if these leaders don't learn from the past, from historical mistakes the U.S. made when it tried to intervene in other countries. Especially today, again, as Trump's rhetoric is becoming more and more hostile. He's demanding unconditional surrender, and he's demanding demanding Iranians evacuate Tehran, one of the world's largest cities, a super dense city. I think we should remember that, and I think we should debunk the argument that the opposition to the regime in Iran is cheering as Israel is bombing the cities in which they and their families live. That's it.